Hello, everyone watching. My name is Isabel, and I'm an Education Community Manager here at ACCA. And today I'm joined by a colleague, Zi Kang, who is an expert tutor. And this session will be all about the final week before exams. So this will be a possibly nerve-wracking, quite stressful period, and I'm guessing you're all thinking, how did we get here so fast? How did March exams come round so quickly? But don't panic, we're here today to share some tips on how you can get the most out of the next few days. So Zikang, thank you so much for joining us today. It'd be great to hear your advice for students.
Thank you very much, Isabel. Hi, everyone.
We are really grateful to have you here because I think you'll have some excellent tips. So first question for you, what should students be focusing on this week ahead of exams?
Right, thank you, Isabel. First of all, thank you very much for having me here, giving some sharing and some motivations to all that is on the final week to go before the real day to come a week later. I think most of us at this point of time, the most commonly heard of action is to get yourself practice enough past exam papers. Now, guys, before I tell you what exactly I'm looking up to different, are you badminton lovers? Are you aware the All England Open Badminton Championship is around the corner? Think about, what do you think the players are now doing? Obviously, they are practicing to prepare for the games, just like you do. But are they just practicing for the game? I don't think so. They practice with game plan. They practice with tactic and strategies. That will make the practice much more fruitful and effective. So, do you think same thing would apply to us, students, who are going for the exam in the week to come? This is the point, the crucial point whereby practicing is undeniably important. But practicing the exam papers with game plans, with strategy, with tactics, that will make your preparation, that will make your effort much more effective. Now, I'm sure through series of learning resources that all of us have gotten in the past couple of weeks, you must have experienced, you must have made aware ranges of exam strategy. How do we make use of time management? How do we approach the exam papers? Where exam papers that come with multiple choice questions, just like the applied skills and applied knowledge. How about those papers without multiple choice, especially the strategic professional papers? Each and every one of us should have at least one or more than one exam technique in your mind. So let me just ask everyone the questions. Are you confident? Are you familiar with that exam strategy and technique? This is the time to get yourself further prepared, getting yourself much more well-versed with the tactic, with the strategy you are up to. As we all know, going into the exam, the lab, the computer lab, a lot of things could have happened, a lot of things could have come across your mind. This is the period of time to clear your mind. Make sure what that stay in your mind is the game plan, the strategy you would like to go all out on the real exam day. So these couple of days would have given you the best chance and the window to stay focused, practicing the exam paper with your tactic, with your strategy. You may still would like to spend a day or two to make a choice. Should we go for game plan A or should we go for game plan B? Which of the strategy is ideal for me? You got to make up your mind to decide what exactly you want to go ahead. Then spend the next 1 or 2 days. Get yourself even more familiar and confident with that tactic. I suppose, regardless of any exam technique or strategy that you have been advised, common objectives such as how do we scope up the easy marks? How are we able to leave out the challenging part but getting all the low-hanging fruits? How do we take advantage of own figure rules? Advices from ranges of in-focus webinar that ACCA has conducted in the last couple of weeks for all the exam papers. I'm sure if you have attended the live or watched the YouTube replay, you should have gotten a few more ideas from expert tutors how exactly to improve the effectiveness and your exam performance. And that is the best time to blend in those additional advices from the InFocus webinar into your own exam strategy and technique to enhance, to boost further the effectiveness of what you are about to do on the exam day. So these are the crucial moments for you to get yourself even further confident and more competent to execute those game plans that is going to your way. And let's not forget, this is also the time for you to experience what if things goes wrong. What is a plan B? You got to know how effective your plan B is to ensure you're able to strike through the 50 marks. These are the things I would say the best thing, the most crucial thing to do during this crucial period of time. Over to you, Isabel.
No, I think that's perfect advice. And I really love the analogy with sports. You know, if you had a tournament coming up next week, you would be spending this week practicing. So I think the idea as well about having that strategy in your mind, a plan A, and also having experienced things going wrong, so you have a plan B in mind as well, is really important. It can be a bit, I think students might sometimes be a bit scared of making mistakes at this point, but actually that's just as valid a learning tool. You know, you need to understand where you're going wrong in order to fix that for the real exam. So perfect advice, thank you. So what are your tips for getting the most out of revision time? How can students protect their revision time this week and make the most of that?
Well, I suppose the revision, the content of the revisions that we all are going through in the final week will be a little different comparing to what are you doing on revising your study a week earlier than that. The content of the revision at this moment, it's more into questions practice is the one that lead you to the revision. By going through the questions practice, that allows you to detect, is there any area that you are still relatively weak at? From there, you spot up the weak area and cover up. So I would suggest what you should focus on by making the full use on the short period of time for the revision is to set yourself a limited time. Instead of spending the whole day of going through the books again, that shouldn't be the way. Your revision should be focusing on areas, issues that you get stuck during your practice. So let's make your revision an problem-focused revision, issue-oriented revision. After spending a period of time, for instance, an hour or maximum 2 hours, you should be able to identify clearly what are the weak areas, what are the issues that you have overcome. Going through short quizzes in the study hub would have given you a quick checklist. Have you really get it sorted out? Have you really got an idea what exactly the subject matter is about before you dive down back to go into some other exam questions? So with these kind of things, the resources from the study hub, particularly ranges of exercises, the long, the short one, would have given you ranges of flexibility to give yourself an immediate feedback to figure out how effective you have got the problem fixed over there. Over to you, Isabel.
Thank you. Yeah. And I just wanted to pause at this point because I've seen some comments coming through from students. So I just wanted to say hello to everyone who is still joining us live. Just to mention, we aren't sharing tips specific to every exam, but this advice that Zikang's sharing is applicable for everyone. This is all about how everyone can make the most out of the next few days. Now, I think I mentioned this at the beginning. I'm sure people are starting to feel a little bit tense and a little bit stressed. So what's your advice for managing those exam nerves as they approach exam week?
I suppose the stress and the tense, it's now up to the highest point of all times. Perhaps it will go even higher for the next couple of days. This is the point Everyone is looking forward, ways to release the tense, ways to release the stress, which it is undeniably a need to really get away, to release off this kind of negative and the stressed element of it. To me, there are more than one ways of releasing the stress. Instead of just, let's get relaxed, let's get go for hanging out with friends, let's get to get some sports, some activities going on. I would like to just throw back something to everyone before we get back to let's go out and have fun to release the stress. We have to understand the root cause that triggered the stress. It doesn't matter whether it is exam or anything in life. To me, the most effective way to deal with stress is to know the root cause, go for it, deal with it, overcome it. There is no more stress, there is no more fears once you manage to conquer it. If the root cause of the stress is coming from limited learning time available, particularly working adults, I would suggest a way to release the stress is to have a real effective study time, a plan for you to dedicate located time just for your focus on the study, practicing the questions or revising the work. Leave the rest aside. Once you stay focused in revising, catch up with what you're supposed to do, that is in a way calm yourself down. At least you know you're going towards the direction. If, however, the root cause of the stress is coming from the unfamiliarity, weaknesses in certain technical knowledge, go back, make use of ranges of resources from the ACCA, from your own learning resources. Get it fixed. Get yourself practice and familiar with those weak areas. Last but not least, if your stress is coming from physical fatigue due to long hours of practicing on the computers and the desktop, go out, have some exercise, have some workout, get yourself sweat. That is just to help to release your muscle tense. That will relieve your physical tense as well as your mental tense. And last but not least, one of the ways to release off the stress is to maintain a balance and a healthy lifestyle. Stop going too far, stop going to further extreme on certain parts, such as do not stretch yourself overly study, burn the whole midnight oil. Do not give yourself a long break. Try to strike in the middle. Try to strike the balance with a good lifestyle. That is the best way to deal with the stress. Over to you, Isabel.
Absolutely, I totally agree. I think it's about getting that balance, isn't it, between quality study time, but also giving yourself a chance to kind of release stress. I've seen Mohammed has put in a comment saying, is watching movies a good option for releasing stress? I'd say, yeah, go ahead, watch a movie, but also make sure you have some study time too, and maybe not too stressful a movie choice. So thank you so much. I think we're moving towards the end now. So I wanted to ask you if you had any final advice and thoughts that you want to share for students as they enter the final week.
My final words of advice, it's a question that always bother the student's mind. That perhaps could be one of the main source of unnecessary stress. And that could be something that makes things goes wrong on the exam day. That is the word failure. To me, how do I see failure? I'll tell myself, I do not want to get failed. I don't want to fail. But the second thing I'll tell myself, I'm not afraid of failing. If I do not want to fail, what does it mean to me? I need to make sure in the next couple of days, I have to do two things. Number one, I have to do the right things. How do I know what are the right things to do? Find out the answer from examiner report. Read up the articles on reading the marker's mind that would have given you the answer how to do the right things. Through all the practices, get yourself disciplined. You will be able to deliver by practicing all your tactics effectively on the day. That is how you do things right. Lastly, I do not afraid of failure because once I'm afraid of failure, that negative elements of mindset will pull me down. The more you're afraid of that incident, too bad, the more likely it will happen. Let's face it, I have tried my best. I will focus on my processes. The rest, let's leave it up. These are beyond my controls. So this is how I see failure in a more constructive manner. Let the failure be the source of your motivation instead of the unnecessary burden, a hurdle that stops you from moving forward. Finally, I wish all of you best of luck. Do your best. Do not give up in the examination. Go all the way to the last minutes of the time. Over to you, Isabel.
What an excellent way to finish. I think that idea of reframing how you think about failure is a really good place to finish, because I think, like you say, don't let that word hang over you. Don't let it define your next week or how you feel about the exam experience either. If you're scared of failure, then it can become all consuming, but it's not, it's not what you want to be focusing on this week. Thank you so much, Sikan. You've given us so much good tips. You've highlighted a lot of ACCA resources that students can make the most of in the next few days. Do make sure to practice, as we said at the beginning. Make sure to look after yourself. This week is going to be stressful, but try and manage those nerves with the advice that we've shared today. I also want to just say a really big well done for all the hard work you've put in so far. And we're rooting for all of you. Good luck for the next week and for the exams next week as well. All the best and take care, everyone.
All the best. Good luck.